And then my parents moved us to Castro Valley, California, because we were in somewhat of the ghetto and wanted to go to a better neighborhood. And so,
I recently had
yeah, I mean, growing up in the ghetto, I guess as the white boy.
You're getting pissed, dude. Literally, this is just Logan Paul.
The virus would target those hogs harshly.
That's just Logan Paul, dude. What the fuck? How the fuck does this dude function on heroin? I guess we're about to find out, boys. Before we get started, I just need to say, like, don't do heroin. It's not good. Okay, it'll fuck your life up. Okay, not good at all. Not even once. Don't fucking try it. Don't do it. Insane. That this guy is doing it.
There were, you know, it wasn't anything too bad. I mean, I guess like once I got a knife pulled on me on a corner when I was like 9 years old. I think I saw well, I know I did, I don't think. I saw a condom full of jizz hanging from a tree when I was like 10, and that was like probably the first time I saw anything like that. But, you know, it was just like there was gangs and stuff. Like a friend of my cousin got shot like a couple blocks down. And so around that time, a couple years later, is when we moved to Castro Valley. And that was somewhat better, but when I got there, it was more like I came from where I came from, and then I entered a more whitewashed area, and then it was like instead of being the white boy, I was the white boy that didn't fit in because I didn't have the money, like, or the new items like everybody had, or clothes, or, you know, electronics or whatever. And so I remember just being a teenager and getting older. I liked playing basketball, but I was never good enough to be on the team. And it's just kind of an outcast trying to find myself. And in high school, as a teenager, I got more into music and stuff, and I got into metal and punk and everything. And I guess one year I remember it was summer school. I remember there was a kid named Ben that he wore like Converse high top Chuck Taylors, and he listened to Blink-182, and I like Blink-182, which I'm not by any means saying that they're punk, but you know, when you're 15 years old, that's so yeah, I was listening to stuff like that, and I started getting more into that, and I started wearing Chuck Taylors and stuff. And I remember the next year Ben's like, "Oh, you're a poser," and you know, all of a sudden it's like you're finding yourself and trying to be an individual, and you're a poser. So yeah, so high school was cool, and I mean, there were some, you know, fights with, you know, kids that wanted to pick fights and stuff.
It sounds like a pretty normal childhood.
Well, I mean, I have some stories.
Except for the being an outcast everywhere you went.
Yeah, right. No, but I definitely have some stories. When I was about 11 years old, there was a fall festival in Castro Valley. This is when we still lived in Hayward, but my parents wanted to go. And it's kind of like your wine and arts and crafts festival. So we go there, and I'm being, you know, I want to go home. I'm bored. And my parents are having a good time. They're drinking wine. They're having a good time. And we're watching, you know, some cover bands, some dad cover band, and they are getting progressively drunker, and you know, not to the point where they're sloppy or crazy, but they're just having a good time. And as almost a teenager, you know, I'm getting embarrassed, which who gives a shit, you know, like who cares what they're doing and what I'm doing, like. But as an 11-year-old, being in that, I have the sense that everybody's watching us, and that all these people, like, I'm going to see any of them for the rest of my life. You know, at this age, I wouldn't give a shit. Like, I've gone to shows and danced my ass off. You know, I've been on acid. I've been on mushrooms, like, at shows. Like, I don't care. But anyway, so I knock the wine glass out of my dad's hand. I slap it. This little brat, this stupid little jerk. And that was it. My dad instantly went from partying happy, which they didn't drink a lot. They, you know, didn't have any problems like that. My dad does have anger issues. Never beat me or anything. You know, I got spanked as a kid, and he definitely did a lot of yelling. but you know, we can go more into that later. But in this situation, it was instant change. The look on his face, he was, I knew I fucked up big time. And my mom, it was like a scared look on her face. He said, get in the car, let's go. And we got in the car, and he drove home probably, and I'm talking down residential streets. This dude was, I mean, I have a very vivid memory, and to have this memory as an 11-year-old and remember looking at the, you know, miles per hour, it was 50 or 60 miles per hour down residentials the whole way. And I was scared out of my, whatever. I was scared. And so we got home. He's just screaming at me, you know, like I fucked up. And I did. I totally understand. I mean, I don't know if I mean, I would hope that if I had a child and I was drinking, I would have the capacity not to, you know, do something like that. But who knows? So he's yelling and screaming. At that point, my mom, they're drunk, and so she passes out on the bed. Well, then my dad starts yelling at her because she's passed out drunk in front of her son, and that's not what you're supposed to do, and all this stuff. And I'm freaking out, like I'm scared. And so I run in the bathroom. I remember he like slammed the door open and put like a hole in the wall. And at that point, I was so scared that I ran out of the house. I ran to the neighbors and I said, call the cops. My dad's drunk. He's freaking out. They called the cops, and my parents had to go to Santa Rita jail for the weekend. Both of them, because you know how cops are sometimes. It's not very rational. And plus when you have two really drunk people, they don't really trust them or believe them. And so, yeah, and I felt really bad. And so
a little drama in your childhood.
A little bit. And I mean, I've never been good enough for my dad. It's always, I can't do it. There's things in life that, like, I worked at a print shop, and there was like, he wanted me to install like lighting and all these things. And I'm like, well, I've never used electric drill or whatever the hell it's called. I've never used one of these before. And he's like, mind's blown. Then I'm like, I'm 35 now, that I was like this 33-year-old man that didn't have these skills, which, I mean, whatever. People learn their own skills, but you know, the stereotype. And he was Mr. Manly Man. He was a stripper in his 20s, like big buff dude, and that's a whole other thing. But so yeah, I didn't learn certain things, and because my dad would always say like, "I'll do it," like I don't want you to screw it up. Basically, he wouldn't say that, you know, to my face, but yeah. So there were different things like that. I would get in trouble at school, but nothing, you know, it was like stupid shit. Like one time, like I pretended to stab a kid with a pencil, and that, you know, I like went like that, and that turned into, oh, he was gonna stab me, and I got suspended. Or, you know, told the teacher one time, "You're not my mom, I don't have to listen to you." Shit like that. Like I wasn't, you know, going and bringing a gun to school or graffitiing all over the walls or smoking pot in the bathroom, you know.
So how far did you go in school?
I did a little bit of college. I only did one semester of college.
Mm-hmm. And you've had jobs. You have a job now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I've done a lot. I was like okay in high school, like 3.0 or whatever grade point average. In college, I was trying to major in mass communications because I knew people at a local radio station that had referred me to this school and to this teacher. I guess I'm kind of one of those people that I have underperformed or had ruined my potential.
So you're working currently. You have a straight job.
I do gig through an app right now. I was working at a restaurant in December, and then they closed down indoor dining, which was fine because we had outdoor dining. Yeah. But then they closed that down, and then it was like I was doing double the work because of delivery, you know, packing bags and all that shit, and then getting paid like, I mean, not half, but half in tips, because people don't tip the restaurant for delivery. They tip the driver. And so, not that that's wrong. I don't really care. I didn't, you know, I wasn't like, oh, damn it, the economy's fucked. I'm going to take a stand or something. I'm like, okay, time to move on to something else. And so, I found this app through Craigslist that does gigs, and you just pick a shift and you pick time and how much you get paid and you sign up. And so, I started working at this warehouse, and it's pretty easy.
Okay, bro, what the fuck is this, dude? How is this the least interesting man in America who is a functional heroin addict? I literally started off this video thinking like there's gonna be a point where like there's a turn. Where the fuck is the turn, bro? He's literally, when he was talking about his like child abuse, I thought he was gonna like actually get into like some fucking freak story. It's like, oh, his middle class dad like was very upset with him for, you know, him like stepping out of line. So then he called the cops and then they arrested his dad. Like, it's almost like it's interesting because of how uninteresting this is, okay? What the fuck? There's got to be a point where like shit hits the fan, right? Or is this unironically how like white dudes get lost in the sauce and like start doing heroin and shit? They just have like normal developments and then all of a sudden before you know there's like, yeah, it's fucking kind of chill. So I started doing heroin, dude. Like, what the fuck? How is this super interesting? Okay, I'll keep going. Sorry, I won't.
Took on more responsibility, and they've made me like shift lead and stuff, and it's all right. It's not.
But you'd consider yourself a good employee.
Oh, yeah, man. It's frustrating because like most of these people, 90% of these people could give a shit. But that's what is the problem with these gig apps. I mean, there's multiple problems, but that you're hiring people that don't care at all. They have no, they could give a shit if they work hard or not. And these people that are managing it, they don't care either as long as the job's getting done. They don't care how it gets done. So in terms of recognition, I mean, I have a few close people I talk to and we all know that we're great. And I mean, I guess that sounds conceited, but it's just the fact. And so we talk and hang out and we compliment each other, but there's only one person that has come up to me and said out of their way, you know, like anything. And it wasn't a manager. It was a guy that does boxes in the back that I am 99% sure is doing blow in the bathroom every day. This dude flushes the toilet every 10 seconds and then is farting his ass off. Like, I've done coke. Like, I know the deal, bro. Like, you don't need to flush the toilet. Like, I can hear you snorting it and I'm not going to tell on you. Like, but yeah, he said that and that made me feel really good. And I was like, wow, that's amazing that person, like, thought to say that. And he's actually a really intelligent guy. I've heard him talking. He's from the streets in Oakland and he's a tough dude, or so he seems. He puts on the front, but yeah, I like him. He's cool.
So your drug.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that.
Oh yeah.
You use what?
So I use heroin. I smoke heroin.
And how long has this been going on?
So I started with oxycodone, Roxy's, Blues, 30s. In 2012, a little bit, I was dabbling with that, a little bit in black tar heroin. I was working doing vending machines. I had that job for 7 years.
You were smoking it?
Mm-hmm. Always. After doing coke for a couple years, I was sick of putting stuff up my nose, and I'm afraid of needles. And I've seen what happens with that. Which, not saying that me smoking heroin is so much better than injecting it, but it just seems. But then again, I mean, I smoke cigarettes, I smoke that. I was smoking a ton of weed, which I barely smoke anymore, but I mean, it definitely affects my breathing and affects my lungs, and that's something I'm worried about and that I would like to quit eventually. I mean, I actually was on methadone recently, but my work schedule made it to where I couldn't get to the clinic anymore because for the first 3 months, you have to go to the clinic every day. That's part of the process. And I was doing fine. Methadone's a little odd. It's kind of, I don't know. I mean, obviously, like if I could choose and if heroin was legal and didn't give me breathing problems to smoke, I would choose heroin any day over methadone. But because methadone is socially accepted in the world and you're not smoking it and ruining your lungs, it's obviously the better choice and it's cheaper. It's easier on the pocketbook. And so... sorry, back to the Roxy's. It was actually 2013. It was shortly after I quit the music thing. The Vincent Gallo show, I quit after that. I was done. I was like, I'm the guy putting up all the money, all the time, all the effort. Everybody's saying, great job, man, keep it up. But they're not the ones doing all that. So I said, fuck it, I'm not doing this shit anymore. And shortly after that, I had a best friend named Tiffany that would come pick me up after work. We would drink, we'd do coke, we'd hang out all the time. And one day she comes to pick me up, and hey, blah, 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 I'm dating this guy, and he showed me these pills and OxyContin, basically. This is back when the 80s, the OC 80s were still around. And for all the people out there that know, the ones you have to lick the coating off, and then, excuse me. So she showed up, and I, at that point in my life, I was 27, and I was just like sick of everything, and was like, might as well join the 27 Club, right? Which, if you don't know, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, all those people that died of, like, you know, drug-related deaths. Anyway, I didn't really want to die, but I was just giving up. And so I was like, fuck it, I don't care, sure, let's do it. And that was the biggest mistake of my life, because I fucking loved it. And everybody says, don't do opiates, don't do heroin. You're never going to come back from it. And of course, I didn't listen. I have to try everything on my own. And I mean, you know, my life isn't like Requiem for a Dream now. Like, I'm not going and doing ass to ass for money, you know. But yeah, I loved it. And it some people say this, other people just get the nods and are kind of like, you know, but it makes me like fucking boom, I'm me, I'm myself, I'm happy, I'm free, I'm energetic. Like, it's crazy. It became what I wanted it to be, and it became what I needed it to be. And that's crazy, because it's like it took my, it's a fucking crazy drug. It's like it took my brain over, and it just said, like, this is what you needed, and like, this is the way it should be. And so
I'm sorry, dude. I just like, I cannot like this guy. Like, I just like everything that he's saying. Like, the saddest part about this is, like, dude, if we had like a functional, socialized healthcare system, like, this dude would not have to self-medicate by micro-dosing fucking heroin. Okay, and he could like figure out whatever the fuck his issues are, and then, you know, get the proper prescription instead of micro-dosing and turning himself into a fucking heroin addict. But having said that, he's just like incredibly annoying for some fucking reason.
Like, there have been multiple times that I've tried to quit on my own. There's been periods of 3 months where I've been able to quit. When I moved to Arkansas, I was able to quit for 3 months. Especially, I thought, well, shit, I'm going to Arkansas. I'm not going to know anybody out there, so there's no way I'm going to, you know about it.
So, your drug use has continued. You're still using heroin today.
Right, because, yeah, I couldn't make the methadone treatments anymore, and so I didn't want to get sick and experience the withdrawals. I tried to quit cold turkey back in September a few months ago, but I got to day 2 or 3, day 2 the first time, and I broke down and said, fuck it. I had some straws with resin, you know, shake those up with some alcohol and put that on the foil, and you're good.
But does it affect your work?
No. Nobody has any idea. Nobody. It makes me better at work.
It almost sounds it makes you better. It
makes me better at
I've
work.
heard people tell me this about crack cocaine, that these are ADHD people.
Right, like maybe I have that. People have said that too, and I don't know. I've never been diagnosed.
I've had people tell me that crack does the opposite what it does to most people.
It just makes them like fine, or it makes them slow.
It slows them down, calms them down.
Calms them down because they can't focus. Huh.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think these drugs affect everyone differently.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, unless I start getting crazy and doing too much, then it can kind of.
Has that happened?
Do it. Yeah, because there was a time where I was just like depressed and like didn't care and everything, and so I was just like fuck it and spending all my money. But now I've learned that that's not worth it, because then I get in too deep and that the money's going to run out, and so I just pace myself and try not to do too much. And you know, it sucks when I'm home alone sometimes and I'm just bored, because then I'll just like take hits because I'm bored.
You would consider yourself an addict?
Yeah. Oh yeah, every day. I do heroin every day. All day, every day.
You wake up and...
I wake up and smoke. I hop out of bed. It's like, I feel like I'm going to some huge event. Like the freaking outside Lands Festival's happening today, and I get to meet all the bands just because I get to smoke. Like, it's crazy. Like,
But you find it prepares you for your day. It makes
yeah,
you
it makes me
sharper.
happy. It makes me, I'm energetic because I get out of bed and I'm like, oh, damn, I need to. And you know what? You know what? This sucks, and this is making me very worried. Besides the breathing thing, is recently I've been waking up and my hand is like numb, and like I also, it might be carpal tunnel because of what I'm doing at work, so I'm trying to do exercises, but I mean, shit, I don't know if it has to do with the drugs, you know? That scares me. So, and then I'm like, fuck, I can't use a lighter, you know what I mean? So that really sucks. But yeah,
Have you met other people that are functional addicts like this?
Kind of, but not like, I mean, the people, there were like people, especially like when I was doing Oxy, that was more of a, so with Oxy, sometimes, because Oxy was expensive, it would get like $30, $35 a pill sometimes, and heroin's way cheaper, and that's why I started doing it, because it gets you higher and it's cheaper. And so Oxy, I would...
Bro, functional is doing a lot of fucking work here. When he says I'm functional. Bro, the fact, like, you're saying you're functional as far as, like, because you can make your money work for the heroin. That's crazy, dude. The other really sad part about this, someone just said the mediocrity is impressive. I agree. I have never seen a situation where, like, I've seen someone who's just like the most boring heroin addict on the planet, dude. He's just like a guy. And he's just like, yeah, I'm doing heroin. It's chill. It's nuts. I've never seen something like this. Also, he says he's like functional. He says he's functional, but it's like, it's only functional because he can make his money, like the limitation that he has with his income is just like kind of helping him a little bit in a weird way, because like he can't do more heroin because he doesn't have a lot more money. So he's like forcing himself to microdose because he admits it. He's like, yeah, I just like, you know, I just want to fucking oof, bad take. Why the fuck is everybody saying bad take, dude? Stop romanticizing it. I just don't think you should be, like, there is no such thing as a functional heroin addict. That's what I'm saying. I don't have a... I don't like it. I don't fucking like it. I don't like that it, like, there should be no concept as, like, a functional heroin addict. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what pisses me off. And the other thing that fucking frustrates me about this video is that he's so fucking casual. It's not romanticizing this man's life as a tragedy. I'm not even romanticizing. I'm literally saying that, like, it frustrates me that he's so casual about this thing, this fucking addiction that has destroyed millions of fucking lives, murdered people, and ruined fucking families all around the country. How the fuck can you sit here and not be upset? If I know, dude, I know that you guys are all so fucking incredibly woke and you love self-medicating and you're a bunch of fucking dumb morons in the chat because you're all fucking 14. And, like, everything needs to be, we need to be super welcoming and super understanding. But, like, it fucking frustrates me to no end that this dude has, like, basically structured his entire life around, like, doing heroin. I'm not dismissing his problems. I'm dismissing his dismissive attitude around his problems. Okay? I don't know. Like, it's just very... He's literally telling his life story. Are you stupid? There he is. He's sitting right there. Won't last for many years, but still, he's struggling, and you're shitting on him. Yeah. It's making me mad that he's, like, so... It feels almost callous, okay? Like, some of the things that he says, even though he's, like... Some of the things he says frustrates me, okay? Some of the things he says frustrates me. As someone who's also struggled with addiction, it makes me so mad. Because he's in it right now, okay? He's not out of it. So he's talking like a fucking addict. And the addiction that he's talking about is heroin, okay? So I'm sorry to all the fucking morons in my chat who have never in their fucking lives had to struggle with addiction. So you like look at that and go, what? Like, why are you fucking shitting on a person? This is a bad take and it keeps getting worse. Suck my dick, dude. Anyway, the point I was gonna make is the other thing that's like frustrating about the frustrating part about this is the methadone clinic. Like, he can't even go to the fucking methadone clinic because he has to work. Chat, different opinion. Chat equals chat 14. You're saying he should be functional enough to consider getting serious help and treatment? Yes, dude. Yes, yes, yes. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated to see someone being like, yeah, I'm just like a functional, casual heroin addict, dude. Okay? Like, I feel like this is terrifying. He doesn't understand the gravity of Hassan, so that makes him a dipshit? Yes, it's fucking making me mad. It's like making me mad that he himself is like not using every opportunity in this interview to be like, this is fucking terrible. This is devastating. Do not learn. Do not act, like, do not think that you can do this. It's not something you can do. Okay? He needs to be more remorseful about his own fucking addiction, or at least honest, or at least self-aware about the situation that he's found himself in. Straight up. If you're a fucking good person, doesn't matter if you're a goddamn addict or not, what you should be doing is literally like, you know, push people away from it instead of talking about it as though your life is, you know, normal and dandy. So I'm sorry to all the chatters who are like fucking upset with the way I'm talking about it. Yeah, I know methadone is terrible. I'm a recovering heroin addict, and methadone and outpatient care is horrendous. There are days where I have to pick either work or methadone because it sometimes takes 2 hours to get a dose daily. You're shitting on this guy more than you shit on murderers and pimps. I mean, because like everyone knows murder is fucking wrong. So, you know, it's not, no matter what I do, you can't fucking show murder in a similar light. But for some reason, this is like, you know, given how people think about like self-medicating and shit like that, I'm genuinely concerned that this comes across as like heroin addiction is like a manageable thing. The way he's like saying it.
Post, this is back, Craigslist made it to where you can't post certain keywords now. But back in the day, you used to be able to post Roxy blue jeans, size 30, and then that's how, you know, I would find dealers sometimes, actually. And I mean, walking around the Tenderloin, like walking Pill Hill. I mean, I used to have to do it sometimes, and it sucked. I mean, one time a guy tried to uppercut me. It was fucked up. Just because I wouldn't buy his pills, his shitty fucking fake pills. Like, sorry, dude. Luckily you missed. I mean, I don't know what would have happened. But not that I'm some tough guy. I'm not trying to sound like, oh, bro, I would have beat his ass. You know, I'm not like that. But, I mean, I might have tried to. But anyway, I would meet people on Craigslist because I started to realize, and other people would do this, I picked it up, like if you sell the pills to somebody else and mark them up, or a common thing I would say if I knew they weren't going to buy that many is I'd say, all right, just throw me a pill, or throw me a half. Like that's when you were really desperate. You'd say, throw me a half a pill, and then they would, and you know. One time I did that, this girl, we were smoking in a bathroom, and she fucking got on the floor and started smoothing the foil out on the floor of a dirty Jack in the Box bathroom. And I was like, I'm on the wall doing it, you know? The wall's smooth too. And I was like, what are you doing? And she was a little, whoop, you know, and she's like, what? I'm fucking, you know, smoothing it out. I was like, dude, on the wall, the bathroom floor is dirty. And she didn't care. So yeah. Whatever. So I'd meet functional addicts, somewhat. Mm-hmm. They were definitely eccentric. They definitely had their things, and they weren't reliable.
So it sounds like you're a case where maybe your psychological makeup is.
But nobody's gonna listen to that. You will, because you understand, because you've talked to so many people and you pay attention and you care. There are people out there that have no concept of this and don't want to hear it. Because that's the way the world is.
Yeah, well, I'm open-minded, but I mean, I've never smoked pot, so I don't know anything about drugs. The fact that I'm doing this channel that
Nice.
seems to revolve
Good for you,
around
man.
drugs. It really doesn't, in my mind. But certainly there's
No.
lots of drug stories. I don't even know how to spell marijuana.
I wish you were as militant against climate change activists as you are against heroin activists.
so I'm just open-minded. I find it interesting that it helps you.
Yeah,
I believe it.
yeah, I find it interesting that you've never even smoked marijuana. I mean, not that I'm saying like, oh, you should or you should have, but yeah, I'm the channel. You know, it's
Yeah, I'm not better than anybody else. I'm
no,
just,
yeah, right. Neither
I
am
got
I.
my own problems
Yeah.
in there.
I'm not saying I'm better than any other addict. You know, like we all have our own things, and we're all unique. I mean, everybody. It makes the world, and sometimes it's the beauty of the world that's the fucked up things.
I think finding something that helps you find fulfillment and happiness is important. and if that happens to be heroin, and you've got it under control, maybe it's okay.
What?
I don't know.
I do, but then it's the money thing.
No, dude. No. Fuck no. Hey, chat, where are you now? I want to hear from the chatters who are like, dude, this video is like, wow, you're a fucking idiot. Like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Bro, this is literally the most libertarian interview I've ever seen in my entire life. Listen. Like, I'm all in for fucking decriminalization, okay? I am. 100% decriminalize it, okay? But goddamn, dude, this shit is so fucking dangerous. What the fuck? Let me just say something here, okay? There's no such thing as a fucking functional heroin addict, okay? It just means he hasn't gotten to that point where it's no longer functional yet. And the same cycle of like his job finding and his income has ironically kept him in that consistent phase, but that doesn't mean he's going to stay there forever. That's not a thing. Like, that's not a real thing. Bad take. You're right, dude. No, there are totally, dude. It's totally functional that, you know, you will never fucking go off the deep end with heroin, dude. You're right. It's such a weird take, but then again, I must be 14 because I don't agree with you. It's fucking nuts, dude. There's like so many, I guess there's so many functional fucking morons in my chat. Okay? You guys are, like, a lot of you are just like psychotic, but functional in the sense that like people haven't recognized how fucking insane you are. Watch his follow-up video. He's very remorseful in that one and talks about how terrible heroin has been for him. Good. There you go. But chatters are fucking caught up with like the most mediocre white man in America because like all you need is a fucking mediocre white man, chatters. Holy fucking shit. It's nuts. You guys got like caught up with how fucking charismatic he is, I guess. You're like, yeah, I don't understand. Like, why aren't you fucking denying this guy his, you know, valid experience of being a functional heroin addict?
You know, it's
How much do you spend?
It's a lot of money. I mean,
What do you spend?
Wrong. Address the arguments. What arguments did you make? So does the media create drug addicts now? Is that your contention? You have cognitive dissonance? What? I don't think the media's creating drug addicts. What the fuck are you talking about, dude? I'm frustrated with this person who is like himself a drug addict, literally talking about it. I'm not saying that like you see heroin in a fucking movie and then you become a heroin addict. This is a little bit different than that. This is a person who is literally a real life human being, like talking to people about how he's like, you know. And normally I would not fucking attack addicts. You know this. I have a lot of addicts in my community. I've struggled with addiction in my fucking life as well, in my life as well. Okay? But this is one of those instances where it is literally like he's just so callous with his indifference about his own personal experience with it. And some of you guys are just like, some of you guys are just looking at this like, oh, dude, it's whatever. Like, thousands of actual addicts in the chat. Maybe you should chill. What the fuck do you mean, dude? Nicotine addiction versus gamba, drugs, or opiates do not compare. No, I'm talking about alcohol, you fucking idiot. I'm talking about alcohol. I'm not talking about cigarettes, even though cigarettes are fucking bad too. So shut the fuck up if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Jesus Christ, dude. I think a lot of people just don't have the experience with heroin addicts and what it does to you. They think heroin is just the same as weed. There's no situation where heroin is good. You should be way more mad at the interview with the softball agreement and giving him the platform versus mad at the mentally ill addict rationalizing his addiction. If you ask chatters, they're going to be like, he's not fucking mentally ill. But I am. This is one of the worst like interviews I've seen on this channel as far as like how damaging it is. Yes, nicotine can be just as fucking addictive as heroin or whatever the fuck, but it doesn't matter because nicotine doesn't fucking murder you and destroy your life in the same way that heroin does. It can, but it takes a lot longer, okay? And it's the worst thing, dude. Do not smoke cigarettes. They're fucking awful. Tobacco's awful. Nicotine is awful, but it's also not as addictive as heroin, but like regardless, it doesn't matter. It's nowhere near as damaging or deadly as heroin is. It doesn't make it good. It's still fucking incredibly bad. Like he's literally talking about heroin and how it like helps him function, like it helps him self-medicate. How the fuck do you guys not see how damaging this is? As a person who's not like in a movie depicting like a scenario. LCSW, CADC working in substance use. This is a shit take. What? Not true. What? I don't understand what the fuck you're saying. I don't know why people just say fucking this is a shit take. And then people never like actually to expect an active user to stand outside his delusions and represent his addiction honestly is impossible. I understand your anger is a natural response, especially if you have the experience of knowing addiction yourself. But these people are so far from the type of objective self-reflection. The interviewer should know better though, and the framing of his questions are enabling. Yeah, I don't know. Why are you arguing with imaginary chatters? I'm clicking on chatters. These are not imaginary chatters. These are real chatters that are in here just going, bad take, bro, bad take.
A week or
a month, probably $1,500. So I could have a nice apartment.
$1,500 a month.
$1,500, yeah. Because I imagine I probably do.
You are making plenty of functioning heroin users, not addicts, feel isolated? What? Dude, I can't tell what's a fucking debate and what's a meme anymore, dude. I literally can't tell if this person is like some like crusty fucking anarchist or unironically like just memeing.
And it's illegal.
500 a day. Nope, 50 a day.
It's illegal, so technically you could end up in jail, right?
Right. Yep. So yeah. That sucks.
But talking to you, looking at you, you don't look like the typical.
I'm sorry. Like, if a person like this was just like talking about their experience with heroin around me and around people that I love, especially young, impressionable people, I would get them the fuck away from the impressionable people. Sorry. Like, that doesn't mean I don't believe that, like, addiction should be treated like an illness and not like a criminal thing. But you can say bad take all day, every day. Something like 40% of the U.S. adult population does some form of opiate. Yo, ban all the people that are saying this. Exactly, jackass. That's precisely how they fucking get addicted to fentanyl and heroin, because they can't pay for the fucking scripts anymore, and they keep upping the dosage. What the fuck are you talking about? This is why there's a fucking epidemic right now, dude. There's a literal heroin epidemic in this country, and you're like, 40% of Americans use some form of opiates. Like, oh yeah, I didn't realize that was a good thing, dude. Sick. You're literally making my point as to why this is so fucking damaging.
heroin addict that I've interviewed.
And that's why I'm still probably here.
Maybe the point is something in heroin works for some number of people and core research should be done for safer for these folks. Okay, dude, here, take a fucking week off, 5-month subscriber.
And functioning and not on the streets, you know?
Yeah.
Because if it started to affect me, I mean, I don't know.
It's not even a fucking wrong take, but in this circumstance, in this context, I'm gonna ban you. You should be happy that I didn't permanently ban you.
If I started smoking crack, I probably would. I know a
I
buddy.
can't count how many heroin addicts I've talked to that just nodded off in the middle of an interview.
Right. They probably also shoot up. Well, I guess people now, I've known people that nod off that smoke it. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's never happened except one time. The worst story is I was drunk and I went to my dealer's RV, a guy that was living in an RV, and he had terrible shit. It wasn't doing anything for me, and I was pissed. And because I'd have to travel like an hour and a half to this guy. And I was at that point, very stupid. I said, you gotta have something. And he goes, yeah, I have fentanyl. And me knowing exactly what that is and what could happen and everything, was drunk and said, fuck it, I don't care, line me up some or whatever. I don't know how long later I wake up and I'm like, where the fuck am I? What happened, you know? And everybody is around me, scared out of their mind. And I fucking OD'd, man. I fucking OD'd for the first time ever. And that really upset me because I didn't ever think I'd get to that point. But yeah, they had to hit me with Narcan like 5 times, they said. And like they said I was turning gray, and only my girlfriend knows about this. Like nobody else knows about I mean, this is the people that were there, but whew, man, I really tried to quit after that, man. I got through like a week and I was happy, but
Yeah.
I was happy that I quit. I was fucking bored out of my mind, you know, but yeah, fentanyl's no good. Don't do it. Everybody out there, don't do it.
Yeah. No, fentanyl's a very different game than heroin.
I think that's the other part of it that frustrates me. It's like a cure for boredom, dude. Like the way he talks about it as though it's like a cure for like being bored. When he was talking about how it's kind of like going to Lollapalooza every morning when I do heroin, like that's when I fucking lost it. I was cooking chicken in the kitchen and I was like screaming. You didn't hear me because I was in the kitchen. But that's when I was like, dude, what the fuck? I think he's lying about boredom. He's depressed. Yeah, probably. Most likely. And for the record, that's why you chew nicotine, bitch? No, I don't chew nicotine because I'm fucking bored. I chew nicotine because I'm a nicotine addict. And because I'm worried that if I stop, I'll fucking smoke cigarettes again. This proves your point even more. Buddy went directly to fentanyl. Like, that's just insane. Yeah.
It's a fucking crazy game.
For the record, that's why there's no such thing as like a functional heroin addict, okay? Because boom, like literally fucking for 24 minutes he described like his experiences, and then all of a sudden in the end he reveals that like, oh yeah, I fucking overdosed on fentanyl in my drug dealer's RV and almost fucking died, and they have to shove me full of fucking Narcan.
Play, man. That's yeah.
It's a very common move for a heroin addict to switch
I
over
do
to
not
fentanyl.
want to do that at all. And I know there is some fentanyl in the black tar heroin.
So that's what I was going to
because
say, is that very
Right.
often they're lacing it and they're mixing it.
luckily I have,
Even crystal meth or crack they'll do that with.
yeah. Luckily I have
I mean, they can do it to anything. I think some of the girls that work that have pimps
Uh-huh.
will smoke a joint, and the joint might be laced with
Oh my god.
crack or meth or heroin or fentanyl or
Shit.
whatever, and then they're addicted, and then they're basically a
God.
slave to the pimp.
Yeah, I heard a story about a guy once that smoked a joint with some random dude. He was lost in the middle of the night in the snow in Chicago, couldn't find his car, and some dude says, "Bro, I've seen you walk by a few times. Come in, you could stay." And he seemed like a cool guy. He's like, "You want to smoke a joint?" The guy's like, "Oh yeah, dude, I smoke weed. Let's smoke." Fucking smokes it. It was laced with meth. Dude starts jerking off in front of him and fucking holds him captive overnight. Wow, I'm lucky. I'm lucky.
The world you're involved in by using this illicit narcotic is problematic, right?
Totally. And I was saying, I have a reliable dealer that I trust, but that doesn't mean anything. He could get something that he doesn't know about. But I mean, at this point, I'm really just trying to make it through until I get the next job, which should happen in a couple weeks, and then I get a set schedule and I can get back to the methadone clinic because I know, I'm a smart.
So you say your mind works better on heroin. Mm-hmm. Could you ever get clean and still enjoy life to its fullest?
I mean, I did before.
You did.
It's not like before.
That's probably a safer
before
way to
I
go.
started, I wasn't enjoying life. I was just depressed in that moment, and I made a bad decision.
Yeah.
Well,
it sounds like getting clean would be the best move.
Oh, totally, yeah, and I want to. I didn't even want to do methadone because I said I don't want to replace an addiction with an addiction. And my buddies,
You're shitting on him for being what? You're shitting on him for being addicted and not acknowledging how devastating it is? Yeah, that's kind of a fucking big problem, don't you think? I feel like you put a comma there as though it's to say I'm shitting on him for being an addict. I'm not shitting on him for being an addict. I'm shitting on him for fucking not acknowledging how devastating it is. That's a full sentence. Like, if you put a comma there, it doesn't separate it. It doesn't turn into an entirely different fucking, entirely different sentiment, okay? Instead of the interviewer who has no excuse for enabling it, that's the point of contention. No, I think the interviewer enabling it is also bad.
on methadone, and he tried to stop one day, and he said it was way worse than heroin. So I know there's maintenance plans where they can wean you off slowly but surely, and I'm hoping that's what's going to work. If not, I've said this to people I'm close to and my girlfriend, like, I think I just need to be locked up somewhere, for 30 days because I am resourceful. It sucks. I don't like lying, and I know that probably sounds like bullshit.
Like, every fucking ex-addict in the chat is agreeing with me, except for, I guess, a few voices for the most part. I don't know what else to say other than, like, literally every person who's like, I'm a recovering, heroin addict or opiate addict. Whereas, like, there's a bunch of random people in here that I guess think that they're fucking functional heroin addicts or something. I don't know. Where was this interview with the pimp glorifying his job yesterday? I mean, we shat on the fucking pimp too. Especially the gorilla pimp who was like talking about fucking beating women. It was like devastating. What the fuck do you mean? Maybe you didn't care about it because you didn't see yourself in the pimp. Okay, maybe that's why. I mean, I'm serious. There's got to be something else. Keyword is recovering. You cannot expect an addict to recognize the bad. That's a wild expectation. Yeah. Well, I guess don't put a fucking camera on addicts. Like, that's it. Especially if you're not going to ask the right questions. Because they're just going to justify it. Because they're literally justifying it to themselves on a daily basis. I just know, dude. I know how fucking damaging that way is. I thought that way, dude. I thought this way. Anyone who's ever fucking been addicted to anything damaging knows what that's like. You're like, oh, dude, it's just fine. Like, it's just gonna be all right. Like, you know, I'm just drinking a little bit. Okay, it's not that much. I have it under control. Next day, it's gonna be different. When I go out and I'm gonna drink, I'm just gonna drink a little bit. Next day is gonna be different. Boom, blackout. Next day, it's gonna be different. Boom, blackout. It's fine. Nothing terrible happened. Next day, it'll be different. Boom, blackout. It's fine. Everybody drinks. It's all good. And before you know it, you're a fucking psycho. You're just drinking every goddamn night, and you're fucking binge drinking, and you're blacking out all the time. And it's terrible. And when you're in it, you're thinking to yourself, like, it's fine. I have it under control. I mean, other people do it. You rationalize it in different ways. Like the way that some fucking baboons in my chat were rationalizing, like, well, people take opiates for a multitude of different reasons. 40% of Americans take opiates, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, that is the most triggering fucking thing I can ever hear from someone while we're in the middle of talking about fucking recovering drug addicts, okay? Or just drug addiction in general. Like, that's like, just fucking shoot someone in the face, dude. Literally. It's like giving more ammo to someone who is like not even remotely interested in recovery or rationalizing his addiction as best as he possibly can. You literally just load up the fucking chamber at that point. That's why I'm fucking losing my mind. Because a lot of you are either not aware. A lot of you are either unaware of what it looks like or what it feels like, what it's like when you're in that situation. Just kill drug addicts, good take. That's not what I said, you fucking asshole. That's never what I said. 11-month subscriber, suck my cock. I said giving drug addicts additional ammo, giving addicts additional ammo to fucking cope with and rationalize their addictive behavior is basically the same as fucking loading up a chamber and giving them the gun, okay? You're literally you're giving validation and allowing them to feel like, you know, it's just, yeah, I am right. Other people also feel the same way. You're enabling this insane, like insanely fucking horrible problem. How about safe supply? This is moronic and reactionary. I think safe supply tackles only one element of the problem, the criminalization problem. But ultimately, that doesn't mean that, like, people should just, like, fucking run around being addicted to heroin, dude. Like, that's still fucking terrible, dude. I guess I'm a fucking reactionary for thinking that, you know, people shouldn't get, that we shouldn't, you know, that we should be trying to solve addiction rather than feed into it and let people just fucking drip it up. There's also the other side of this, which is like, he's just in heavy denial, dude. I don't think you can expect an addict to give a PSA on how drugs are bad while he's on fucking drugs. I mean, that's not what my expectation is. It's just like fucking annoying to me that, like, the only moment of clarity that you have from him, recognizing how fucked up the situation is that moment where he recalls the incredibly traumatic event of him almost dying as a consequence of overdosing in his fucking drug dealer's RV off of fentanyl. Okay? That's the only time where you see the real clarity and the honesty, and for a brief moment, the fucking shallow veneer that he has around him, around himself, just, you know, it goes away. And that's the real moment. Well, I agree with you 100%, but if we were talking about weed, I'd definitely be justifying and rationalizing it. Yes, because there's different drugs that have different impacts, okay? Like, yeah, fucking marijuana is not the same as heroin. What the fuck, chat? Are you insane? It's like physically impossible to overdose on marijuana, dude. What are you talking about? Like, the amount of marijuana necessary for you to fucking overdose on marijuana is so vast. The quantity is so large that it's physically impossible for you to smoke all of that or inject it. No, it's not. You can easily overdose on marijuana. Google that.
I really don't, but as an addict with the world the way it is and people, you know, would look at me a certain way, I have to lie because I need to get by and just, yeah. I was living with my girlfriend's mom and her for a couple weeks, and her mom had me pegged from probably day 2. She told her he's on drugs, and I was with my girlfriend for almost a year.
How could she tell?
She's smart. Her ex-husband was an addict. She knew. She and also is making, you know, longer trips to the bathroom quite often, you know. And I'd always like play YouTube videos. I watch Soft White Underbelly, you know, in the bathroom while
Everybody that watches that
they're like,
channel
"What
is an
are you
addict."
doing in there?" I'm watching the Hillbillies. Shut up.
They're all a bunch of drug addicts watching that channel.
Yeah. So
The video doesn't even try and show his behavior as anything but what he says it is. That's the problem. Yes. That's the issue. Thank you for understanding what my problem is. I need to watch his follow-up now.